Laila El-Haddad is a Palestinian-American journalist, blogger, author, Muslim activist, and a mother. She co-authored the Gaza Kitchen, a cookbook with recipes and stories from across the Gaza Strip. Through food, Laila explores the culture of the Gazan people who use cooking to keep their heritage alive. And today, she's sharing a traditional dish that's personally memorable to her and represents her Palestinian heritage. So we're here in Laila's kitchen. Laila, the ingredients look beautiful and colorful. We're going to make that lentil and eggplant dish that you talked about, rumaniye. So what is the first thing we have to do?
We're going to start by picking over and rinsing the lentils, and this is something that a lot of people, I think, gloss over. Let them do their thing.
So Laila, what do I need to chop for you? What do I need to cut up for you? Give me a test.
We're going to start with the eggplants, and I chose some Asian eggplants. They're a little bit more mild and sweeter, and they cook a little bit
How
quicker.
do I just go slice them
Yeah,
skinny?
we're going to chop them, leave the skin on for this particular dish, and we're going to just chop them into about 1-inch pieces.
Like this.
They're perfect. That's what I was going to suggest. Yeah.
This.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. I will go ahead and start juicing the lemons.
Okay.
And what I am going to do is add that lemon juice to the pomegranate molasses. Yeah, and just about 2 tablespoons. Again, I'm just totally winging it here. We're going to add some dill seeds.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Can I smell it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to add about 1.5 tablespoons. Okay, and so in a strong circular motion, you're going to hold it down with one hand.
Okay.
Yeah, and then a strong circular motion, right? And then you'll begin to kind of smell it. And once
oh my gosh, it smells amazing.
It smells amazing. And once those sort of natural oils are released, you know it's ready. And then while you're doing that, I'm going to crush some garlic.
Does the garlic go in here?
The garlic will go in there. So about 5 garlic cloves. We're going to dump all this into the eggplants and lentils that have kind of been doing their thing, but we're going to check first to make sure that the eggplants have gotten sufficiently soft.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly. Oh, that's okay. You can just dump them in there.
Okay.
Put that plate right here. Well, let's see. So I just want to make sure it has kind of the right ratio of sour to sweet to salty. All right, so all we have left to do now is add a couple of tablespoons of that red tahina. And actually, we could go ahead and put it in the dishes and let it cool, and then we're going to fry up the onions that go on top.
Okay. Smells so good.
And the onions, I mean, who would think just all those natural sugars get released when you saute them?
Is this ready to be consumed?
This is, yeah. We're just gonna add a little bit of pomegranate on top.
Okay.
And then finally, we're just gonna add a little bit of this dill. Pretty green color, yeah.
So let's go over, have a little conversation, taste the food.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's. Laila, everything looks absolutely delicious and appetizing. This is the eggplant dish that we made with the lentil, and that is the salad. How is this normally how it's all served?
Usually this is served sort of as a communal dish, and you kind of all, you know, or else there'll be kind of like one dish for every couple of people. Yeah.
Tell me what you think about when you see all this, and does it bring fond memories?
You know, it does. For me, food is a deeply spiritual and emotional experience on so many levels, right? So it reminds me of like my place on this earth. It reminds me where I came from and you know, where I am now. And in my mother's case, even though she wasn't necessarily, you know, in her words, the most accomplished cook, or wasn't fond of the kitchen per se, right? She always kind of viewed it as a step backwards for women.
Which is what many Westerners, you know, stereotype women of the Middle East as being in the kitchen all the time.
Absolutely, like domesticity, right, and so forth. But there were moments, especially there was a time I remember when she was visiting me in the US, and she was unable to return to Gaza because of an extended border closure. And she was really homesick, and she began to make this particular dish, romania. And, you know, it brought back some memories. She began to recite some poetry about Palestine, and she just began to tear up and cry. I remember as she was pouring in the pomegranate molasses. So it's again, deeply, you know, it's evocative, and certain flavors trigger certain memories. And for me, that was kind of part of the idea, the inspiration behind writing this book, The Gaza Kitchen, was to capture those memories.
This, by the way, is delicious.
Oh, I'm so glad.
The flavors, everything just comes together beautifully.
It's incredible, right?
Yeah.
It's just, you actually taste it. It's like,
what
whoa.
is the lesson or the message that you want your children to learn through this process? As a Palestinian-American living in this country, as a mother, as a devoted activist, as someone who deeply cares about what's going on back home. Yeah. How do you make sure your children have a sense of awareness and hope, but the reality on the ground is so different?
Yeah, it's a great question, and one that I'm kind of constantly grappling with. I don't want to ever shield them from sort of the harsh realities around them, be it, you know, back home or be it here, right? As Muslim Americans, the kinds of things that they're facing, as Palestinian Americans, you know, at the same time, I want to equip them with the kind of tools that would enable them to make a difference and to, you know, as they grow older, to sort of problem solve and so forth. But one way that I am able to instill their values in them is through cooking, is through food.
The food, your story, your resilience, your optimism, truly remarkable, and thank you for having us here today.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Laila. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.